Ever wonder why certain spaces seem to work so well? Is it the architecture? Or is it just down to pure luck? Or is it something else? Hey guys, this is Dimitri here, and in this video we're gonna look at Amanda Levete Victoria and Albert Museum extension. It's a beautiful extension done for a side entrance of the museum. The project consists of connecting the street to the side entrance. There is a new cafe above ground and underground galleries. But is it more than that? Great architecture, just like a great park or an exciting pedestrian street, feels so natural to the environment, so well nestled that it transcends time and feels like it's been there for, well, forever. Well, this is exactly what the side entrance at the V&A feels like. So much of contemporary architecture has been built with the wow factor in mind. This is great for Instagram and YouTube, but I'm more interested in how, yes, it feels to be in the place, moving around, meandering, catching a peek from the side, approaching. What sorts of emotions arise from that experience? A great feeling place could still have a wow factor. On the surface, the project aims to introduce a second public face to the world-famous museum. The unique design has become a work of the museum. Many people meander around the space. The engineering feat is masterfully impressive. Watching Amanda present the project a few years ago, she mentioned how they used state-of-the-art technology to detect movement from the historic structure when they were inserting the foundation for the extension just next door. It's literally a meter away from the existing historical foundation. So let's talk about a couple of things of getting to the site. First is the approach. We enter the site. If you walk on either side, you can't even notice that something is there until the time you get in front of the colonnade that gets you in there. So once you hit the colonnade, you look inside, you're like, maybe I don't remember seeing this last time I was here, so let me check it out. There's a couple of ways to go. We can go either directly down the stairs, but I feel like a pull to one side, and that's to the right side where the ramp goes, right? Because there's a heavy interesting object in there. One object to the left side is the cafe, and the cafe we can perceive quite easily from the distance. The juxtaposition between the modern angular cafe with curved glass and the historic Victorian brickwork in the background is wonderful. But again, approaching the building and getting into it, I feel like I want to go to one side, to the left side, because there's something that feels like a well in there, and there's almost like a narrow gap along the edge. It feels comfortable. Once you go down there, the surface is pretty nicely done, and of course, I want to stop and check out what's in the well. And there you have a series of mirrors and series of mechanisms that try to light up, illuminate the galleries below the surface level underground. There's quite a few levels underneath of there, not sure how many, but it goes a few stories down. So it's a wonderful mechanism that both draws your attention and creates a visible threshold that kind of pulls most people towards the edge. So the middle is left intentionally void for a series of reasons, in my opinion. So one, you could have private or public events in there because there's quite a hefty amount of room. You can put tables, anything really, and close the gates. So that's one option. The second option is just perceiving, standing there, looking around, and on one side you have the cafe with the Victorian brickwork. On the other, you can perceive the exit, so the colonnade, and seeing a tour to the other side, to the Science Museum and to the Natural History Museum. And on the other you have, again, an object that appears black, almost like a well, against the Victorian brickwork. So the middle is left intentionally blank to perceive that relationship between something modern and something historic, working in synchronicity to create a seamless, world-class experience of being in a modern museum with old roots. What's also really nice is that the whole stair, beautiful sculptural stair, is not ruined by a series of handrails. Instead, they've beautifully put only one. I'm sure if they wanted to, or they tried to get away even without having that one, but at least they have one instead of a few every couple of meters. So in that sense, it preserves the integrity of the stair so much better as a sculptural form instead of as a practical stair. They kind of connect to the cafe, and just above the cafe, or rather just below the cafe, there's glass, and you can see below underneath of it again into some of the galleries, or in this case the public space that's underground. And the light well in the middle, well, it's an experience on its own that kids really appreciate. So it's one of these spaces that's really understated. You know, they could have done something crazy, or they could have tried to maximize the amount of gallery space, including overground, but instead it's left open. It's got two elements. Compositionally, it's weighted towards either end. We have the cafe, which is the highest object on one side, and we have the narrowing, the gateway between the light well and the threshold condition, which I think also hides some MEP stuff. You know, you can see some grills in there, and they're masterfully hidden. So you kind of go around and zigzag, and if you want, you can come back up and almost appreciate from turning, right, from the backside, from the museum entrance towards the outside, and perceiving that as an open space, almost like as a gallery space that exists outside, external gallery space, right? It's void, it's blank, and like a gallery space, you can have some elements on the walls. So it feels nice in there. Now, there are some funny things. So a few years back at an NLA lecture at the Royal Geographical Society, just up the block, Amanda Levete was talking about how they chose a Catalan craftsman to create all the ceramic tiles on the floor. They look really good. Unfortunately, during rain or during the cold season, they actually put a lot of ice, and they even put warning signs that says don't use them because they tend to get a little bit slippery. Now, it's one of those perfect examples that makes you think, is design more important or is functionality more important? So bottom line, would I recommend that space to go and visit? Absolutely, go check it out. Let's get back to the beginning of this video. What's it feel like to be there? Feels nice. Now, by all means, it's well-balanced place. Compositionally, they've thought about all the elements along the edges. The middle feels, again, purposefully left void in order to create that understanding, that synchronicity between the modern, new, and the beautiful Victorian old. So you're essentially in a gallery space, and the subject of the gallery is the architecture. Design matters. So, all kinds of design. We're not talking about big beautiful towers or crazy extravagant architecture. Design, well executed, no matter what it looks like, it matters because it improves our sense of place, our sense of well-being. And this side entrance at the V&A Museum by Amanda Levete Architects is the perfect example of that. Thank you. Stay tuned for more architectural space explorations.